Hello everyone, Kevin Gamer back here again today, and welcome back to the channel. And now today we're doing a different kind of video. We're doing a tier list video. Now, instead of playing the game, we're going to be ranking it today, and we're ranking the Five Nights at Freddy's games. From FNAF 1 to FNAF Security Breach, we'll be ranking all of it. Now, I've been saying we a lot. Why do I say we? Well, that's because we're joined by who else but Talon Hodge, aka Fusion Knights. Hello, Talon.
I thought you told me we were rating the Undertale characters.
No, Talon, that's supposed to be a secret for later. Come on, Talon. That's after that.
Oh.
Yeah, you give me the secrets out early. God, you know what? I can just edit. It's fine.
My bad, I just read the memo like 2 minutes ago.
Well, I know the memo said FNAF and then Undertale in like 2 weeks, okay? It's fine. Okay. Sorry for that, guys. You know, little discombobulation, you know. However, we're here to rank the FNAF games, and here's how we're ranking them. Me and Talon came up with a system. Instead of just doing S, A, B, C, D, E, F, we decided to change it up to Exotic Butters, Great Job, Freddy Approved, Not Great, but Not Bad, That Ain't It, Chief, Out of Order, and Worse Than Afton. So, if you get Worse Than Afton, you really messed up this game. So, Talon, are we ready to start? I think we know where we're starting. I think we're just starting with FNAF 1, right?
Yep. And just to clarify, when we say worse than Afton, we mean as in the character Afton from Pizzeria Sim.
Correct, not William. Not the actual killer. We're just using that. We're not like we're going over William Afton, not the whole family, not anything like that. We're talking about we're also talking about the design of Scrap Trap in general, because it's just bad. It's bad. Okay.
Cancer.
Yeah. With that out of the way, though, we'll start with FNAF 1. Now, Talon, I have a good idea of where I want to rank this one. Where do you think FNAF 1 deserves to be ranked on this tier list?
Well, it would be funny to have it on Freddy Approved. I do think it deserves to at least be on Great Job.
You know what? I do agree with that. Because I think if we're playing off nostalgia, I think it goes into Exotic Butters. However, I think the game is a very well thought out game. It has good mechanics, and the horror is still there with the little bit of lore that we're giving. It's phenomenal. I think it's a great game. Does it deserve Exotic Butters? I don't think so unless you're playing off the nostalgia, though. It's a great game to go replay, but I don't think it's the best of the best by any means. So, with that out of the way, we'll go to FNAF 2. Now, Talon, you know how I feel about this game. I think that's where it deserves to be.
It's reasonable enough.
I just feel like this game did everything better than FNAF 1. It gives you, it may not be as terrifying, but it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole entire time you're playing it. The custom night mode is extremely difficult. The mechanics, while they're simple, are also very annoying at times and it's meticulous. However, the lore and the story of this game as well, getting the mini games for the first time and everything, I think that's what puts this game over FNAF 1, and I think it's what vaults it into the Exotic Butters. At the same time, I feel like some people that started with FNAF, I think a majority of them actually started with FNAF 2 over FNAF 1, in all honesty. So you could easily argue that FNAF 2 is more of the catapult of the success of Five Nights at Freddy's than FNAF 1 is.
Yeah.
So, now, here we go into our first Scott troll game. The first time Scott trolled his fans by trolling everybody, saying FNAF 3 was leaked on Game Troll in its entirety. He was canceling the project. People went to play it, and they were met with one of Scott's games with just a Freddy head PNG put on top of it. Because, you know, as you see with Sister Location, we'll get into that again later. But, Talon, I have never personally actually played this troll game, but I've seen gameplay of it, and I'm going to put it in not great but not bad. I would put it in That Ain't It, Chief, but I'm only putting it there just because it was Scott's original troll, and I loved it. Do you think it should go higher, or do you think it's good where it's at?
I think it fits.
I think it works right there. I almost thought about putting it Freddy approved because, Freddy would approve of a troll like this, but we're not going to throw it there yet. Now, FNAF 3. For a lot of people, this is, in their opinion, the worst game of the franchise. Talon, where do you think we should throw FNAF 3? I have my idea. Where do you think we should
I'm trying to think about it, because personally for me, it's such a different game that it honestly makes me love it a lot.
Correct. I think
and overall,
the game.
Yes. Unique minus goddamn Balloon Boy.
We all hate Balloon Boy. We all can agree on that.
And while it was tedious to try to get the good ending on PlayStation as a console, or probably just only consoles, I do like the game a lot. So I'll leave it to you, but I think it should at least be above the Chief.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. In my opinion, I think the gameplay of the game is good. And while I think it's very difficult, I think the gameplay is honestly really unique, and it almost wants me to throw it into Freddy approved. However, the one thing keeping it out of Freddy approved is just how difficult it is to get the good ending. So I'm going to throw it in not great, but not bad. I feel like it's a good game. The horror really isn't there, though. It gets really annoying in the later nights trying to do a Springtrap because he's so unpredictable. And I feel like if Scott didn't adjust the series from where it was at right here, I feel like the series could have died after this game, but obviously Scott adjusted and fixed it. But I think the lore of this game is perfect. I think it's a great lore, and it builds onto it with the minigames between each night that you're guaranteed to get with William disassembling the animatronics and everything. I think it works. However, just a couple nitpicky things are what's keeping me from throwing it into Freddy approved. So, now we go on to FNAF 4. Just the base game of FNAF 4, because we'll obviously go over to the DLC here in a minute, but we'll go over the base game of FNAF 4. Now, Talon, I'll start with you. Where do you think FNAF 4 fits on the tier list?
Well, me personally, I almost want to say that at least deserves to be above Freddy approved, whether it be Great Job or Exotic Butters. That's why I can't figure out yet, because honestly, gameplay-wise, it's absolutely terrifying, considering that you have to literally use your auditory senses to find out where an animatronic is.
Yes.
And it changes with every night.
Correct.
With every night, there comes a new horror, or the horror becomes more aggressive.
Correct. On night one...
I just love the story.
Exactly. And with night one, let's just talk about the gameplay for a second. With night 1, you're just going against pretty much just Bonnie and Chica like you would in FNAF 1. Then night 2 introduces Foxy and a little bit more of the Freddles. Night 3 is just everything more aggressive. And night 4, you really start to worry about the Freddles because that's when Freddy becomes his most active. And then when you finally think you got it down at night 4, night 5 throws a curveball where you're just dealing with Fredbear out of nowhere. And then... is it night 6 that you're just dealing with Nightmare? So
I think it's actually I think it's how it works is night 4. I could be wrong about this entirely, but I think you get to 4 a.m. at night 4, and then it switches out for all the animatronics to Nightmare, Fredbear, and then night 5 it's
Nightmare, Fredbear, and Nightmare.
Just Nightmare.
Okay. We could be wrong on that, guys. Correct us in the comments down below. But I do know it works something like that, where it switches off at a certain time to just Fredbear, and you're like, oh, what the... But, now, the biggest selling point of this game, more than just the terrifying gameplay, is the story. And just the hype it created. At the time, what seemed like the Bite of 87, insert Markiplier meme. Boom, my editing stuff will obviously throw that in there. And then, obviously, just everything that comes from it. The crying child...
was that the Bite of 87?
...story. The little Easter egg you can get with Purple Guy putting a Spring Bonnie head on an employee. Finally seeing Fredbear's Family Diner for the first time. Just everything. And then... the biggest thing that really rattled the community that we still really don't have an answer to this day is the box. And what that did. And how many people it confused. So, with the gameplay and the story, I think this game deserves Exotic Butters. I really do think it deserves Exotic Butters.
I agree.
I agree. I think everything of this game, and people might not agree with me on this, but I think it really just kind of closes the perfect door. If it were to have ended right here, and we didn't expand into the Afton family and everything, I think this would have been the perfect way to end the series. Obviously, Scott didn't think that because he introduced a lot more, but we'll get into that at a later time in this video. However, I think FNAF 4 was just the perfect embodiment of what you can do with FNAF and how you can tell a story with it. And that's the beauty of this game. Now, going over the DLC, it's just FNAF 4 with different things. We get Jacko. It's the Halloween edition of the game, which is Jacko Chica, Jacko Bonnie, Nightmare Mangle, Nightmare Balloon Boy instead of Plush Trap, and then the most famous one out of all of them is Nightmarion. And just for introducing Nightmarion, I think this deserves being Freddy approved.
Yeah. I personally didn't see it in terms of that for myself, but it seemed like a really cool update.
It's really cool. It's a fun thing. It doesn't introduce any Easter eggs like Scott already said it wouldn't when he first ever released the Halloween edition of this game. However, I think it's one cool thing, and I honestly really enjoy it. And obviously, introducing a character like Nightmarion is great. So now we go into FNAF World. Now, I have played FNAF World recently on Twitch, and if you haven't checked it out yet, we'll be streaming a lot this week on Twitch over this game. However, if you haven't seen it already, go check it out. It'll be linked in the description below. However, if Talon didn't already know, FNAF World released first on Steam for, I believe, like $5. I could be wrong on that. And it was so bad, Scott had to pull it off Steam, refund everybody, and throw it onto Game Jolt with updates, which the updated FNAF World is what I've been playing on Twitch, but we gotta talk about the original FNAF World, which was a buggy mess. And Talon, you see that little pixel art of the Freddy right down there with the pumpkin head?
Yep.
That's what it looked when you roamed the world.
Damn.
It was bad. And I'm not going to say it's worse than Afton, because I don't think it is, but I'm just going to throw it in out of order. I think that's where this game deserves to be. It's not terrible, but it was just rushed, and it wasn't ready. And it was very clear when you played it. So that's where I'm going to throw that one. Now, going to FNAF World, Talon, this is the game me and you have been playing on Twitch recently. Where do you think FNAF World deserves to be?
I would say Freddy approves.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't think it deserves great job, and definitely does not deserve Exotic Butter, but I think it deserves Freddy approved. I played it, honestly, as a joke, because I was like, haha, we're going to play FNAF World, guys, as a stream, and I actually played it, and I thought it was really cool and really fun, and I actually really enjoyed it. So, in all honesty, I think it gets a lot more hate than what it actually deserves, so I'm going to throw it in Freddy approved. So,
yeah.
Now we go to Scott's second troll, which was the infamous troll that got so many people, in which Scott took to Reddit and said Sister Location was going to have to be released at a later date because the game he actually made was way too mature and way too dark and way much more than he anticipated. So he decided he was going to say, I'm going to release the mature edition on Game Jolt and release in chapters Bendy and the Ink Machine style, and the real Sister Location will be out in a couple months. And then you click to play it, you downloaded the game, you click to play it, the main title screen is almost identical to what the Sister Location main title screen ended up being, even with the correct music. And then you play the game, and you get Sit and Survive with a Freddy head. And just for being in my opinion, the best troll Scott's ever done, I'm going to throw it in Exotic Butters. Because it was, quite frankly, the best troll Scott has ever done, in my personal opinion. I think it was great. It deserves exotic butters, in my opinion. People, you can disagree in the comments down below. I don't care. It's going to exotic butters. I loved watching MatPat and so many other people be like, "Are you kidding me, Scott?" Like getting all hyped up and like, "Are you kidding me, Scott? Like really, Scott?" It was an amazing moment. So I'm gonna throw it into exotic butters. Now we turn to the real game, Sister Location. Now, in the past, this game was one of my favorites. Then I replayed it. And I know where I want to throw this game, and I'll go into it in a second. But Talon, where do you think this game deserves to be? Where do you think this game deserves to be, Talon? Go ahead.
Honestly, I have no clue, as I have no true memories of the game, honestly. The main thing I really remember from the game is just the mini games and, of course, well, the ending. So, I mean, I know I can't base it off just that, but off those, they seem really cool, so I would say at least needs to be above... out of order. I don't know. I don't think it deserves exotic butters or great job, but...
So...
Friday approved, not great but not bad. That ain't Chief. I think that's like 3.
So I think it does not deserve to be in any of these two. I would say it's not That Ain't Chief. In my opinion, I'm going to throw it in not great but not bad, which may come as a shock, but here's why. I think the story of this game is, when it comes to the story of this game, it's probably the best story of any of the games besides one. And I think that's just the truth. I think the game does a great job of telling a story. However, I feel like the gameplay, when you're actually playing the game, there's not much to it. Night 1, you just go and check all the animatronics and you get a... You just leave. There's no threat. It's like playing Night 1 of FNAF 3. Then Night 2, you go and check on everybody. Then you go check on Baby. Baby talks to you. You go under the desk, hide from the Bitty Babs. Then you have to go through Ballora Gallery and go through all of that. Then do the minigame with Funtime Freddy, which is one of my favorites in the game, yes. And boom. And honestly, after playing that, you're thinking, oh crap, how can this game get better? Saying that's probably the most gameplay you'll get in any of the nights is the sad thing, because it's only Night 2. That's honestly the disappointing part about this game. Night 3, you do the Funtime Freddy, sending him to, what's it called? The scooping room. You get Bon. Then you get killed by Funtime Foxy. However, you don't get killed. You get kidnapped by Baby, throws you in a Springlock suit. And that brings us to the most annoying minigame in all of the FNAF series, which is the Springlock minigame, which to this day is the only minigame in any of the FNAF games, besides 50-20 mode and Ultimate Custom Night, that I have still yet to beat. I've never beaten that one. It's so difficult. It's so annoying. I don't like it. And then Night 5, obviously, because I've seen the ending of the game, Night 5, you just deal with Baby and having to avoid Ballora, then you get scooped. Or if you go into the other room and you complete the Cupcake minigame, you get the Entered ending, which is cool. I like the Custom Night. The story's good. If it wasn't for the subpar gameplay, though, in the base game, I'm going to throw it not great, but not bad. And that's exactly where I think it deserves to be. That's my opinion. You can dispute me in the comments for having it too high or having it too low. Have an argument, let me know, and I'll reply to you guys. And you know what? Maybe you can convince me otherwise. However, that's where I'm going to throw that. Now, we go to Pizzeria Simulator. Now, when it comes to Pizzeria Simulator, I think this is one of the better games. Talon, what's your opinion on Pizzeria Simulator?
Pizzeria Simulator is honestly really cool in my opinion, considering that really, like, it's up to you how the game honestly goes. It can be the easiest thing or it can be the hardest thing ever. It's technically at your own self-pace. The mini games and stuff you can do with the environment is relatively cool. Being able to build your own pizzeria.
Yeah,
pizzeria,
the tycoon part of the game is really cool. I feel like when we just talk about the tycoon, I like where you can truthfully do anything with this game. And that's the beauty of Pizza Sim. is that you truthfully can do anything with this game. If you want to play it where you don't salvage a single animatronic and you just go through the week, you can do that. If you don't want to buy anything at all and not build the pizzeria, you can do that. If you want to go bankrupt because little Susie fell off the jungle gym, you can do that. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. I love that about this game. All the animatronics that revealed, all of that. Now, the best part about this game is the lore. The lore of this game is by far, in my opinion, the best lore. Like I said, Sister Location told the best story. I think there's only one game that's better at telling a story than Sister Location, and that's Pizzeria Simulator. The lore this game gives you, Candy Cadet in his 3 stories, Midnight Motorist in its minigame, Fruity Maze in its minigames, those 3 Security Puppet minigame, seeing what happened with Henry's daughter, and seeing just everything with that. And then, what I feel like is the greatest ending in all of the FNAF games, Henry's monologue. Which is still a bone-chilling moment in all of Five Nights at Freddy's. And because of all of that, I think Pizzeria Simulator deserves exotic butters. I think it does.
I think it's deserved.
Like, I think Pizza Sim is such a good game. It's really, really good. So, I could honestly talk all day long about Pizza Sim. Maybe I'll make a video over just Pizza Sim one day. But we'll move on for now. Now we go over Ultimate Custom Night. So, first let's start with the troll game that Scott did, which, to be fair, I don't really know anything about this troll game, so you know what, we'll just throw it in worse than Afton. I don't know anything about this one, honestly. I honestly don't. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I have no idea about this troll game. That's where I'm going to put it. Ultimate Custom Night. I know where I'm going to throw this one.
That probably says a lot if you don't know about it.
I know. That really says a lot. Because honestly, I had to research that a little bit before we did this. I don't know a lot about it. So, there's that. So, Ultimate Custom Night itself, though. Tom, I want to hear your opinion. Where do you think this one deserves to be?
Just like Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location, I did not know much about the game in all technicality, like what happens after you're doing certain objectives and all that.
Yeah, fair.
When it comes to like the side stories, but I think it's pretty interesting for a game because it's like more of a challenge towards yourself.
Correct. It's not meant to be.
Kind of see what you're capable of doing.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it as well, is that it's built as a game that seems like it's going to be a challenge, but it also tells a great story again in its own way. You have to kind of dig for the story, but it does tell a story nonetheless. That story being of finding out that we're playing as William Afton in Purgatory is insane. Obviously, seeing the quick glimpses of what we know as Cassidy now, and the Vengeful Spirit, aka the one we should not have killed. All the animatronic voice lines, everything about this game is really cool, and just its ties to everything. It's a great way to kind of just, in a way, kind of close off what was Five Nights at Freddy's as a point-and-click survival game, because when you look at it now, Ultimate Custom Night is truly the last point-and-click survival game we got out of FNAF. It is. It's the last one. No other FNAF game really has a point-and-click survival style to it. So, it being that, I'm going to throw it into great job. Great job by Scott. He made what should... He did more than what he needed to do. He could have easily just made this a custom night, put no voice lines, and people probably would have still been happy. Then he added everything he did, and it just made it that much better. And that's what I love about Scott. He doesn't just settle for, let's just do this. That's what I love about Scott. So, I'll put it in great job. I think that's where it should go.
Yep.
So, now we go to FNAF AR. That's my opinion.
I would completely agree.
It's just
like it's pretty cool, but after a little bit,
it's a great concept. It's just Illumix, which I believe, if I'm saying it right, Illumix is the team that works on FNAF AR. They've kind of let the project die at this point now. They don't really do anything with it anymore. It's a great concept, and it was a great idea, but it just didn't work. It's not out of order because it's exactly what it was supposed to be. I don't think it's worse than Afton, but it's just good on paper, just not executed right. And that's kind of disappointing. I remember kind of being hyped for this game, but honestly, the only reason I don't throw it in worse than Afton is just because of the ties it had to Security Breach and away with the emails. That's about it. So that's my opinion on FNAF AR. I think we should move on from that. So we're done.
Yeah.
So now we talk about FNAF VR. I have a good idea of where I'm going to throw this one, Talon. I know me and you have played a little bit of this. I'll be honest, too much of a chicken to have officially gone through it. If you guys want to see me go through the whole game, 20 likes on this video and we'll do it, okay? 20 likes on this video, and the next gameplay we'll do is me playing all of FNAF VR. Even though I probably don't want to, but I'll do it if we get 20 likes on this video. So, there's your challenge for the day, guys. 20 likes. Let's get 20 likes. But, I know where I want to throw FNAF VR. Talon, what's your opinion on FNAF VR, though? Where do you think it should go?
Well, me personally, I think that even though I've played very little and seen very little of the game, I think it's a really nice game, honestly. I wish that, because the one thing I don't really like entirely about it is the fact that the first game in that VR version is that you can't really see where the animatronics are coming from directly because the cameras are kind of not the best quality
and the
ever.
Cameras are kind of the worst ever.
That's just kind of a me thing, you know.
That's kind of just that's being a little nitpicky,
cool game.
But you know,
the way it ties into the story, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's
the story for it and the tie is very nice with the whole Vanny and glitch trap thing.
Correct, and it kind of ties in again to one of those games. Scott could have just released a VR thing and been done with it, but again, he just added story to it, and he added more answers and more questions. And I liked that. Introducing Tape Girl, which we now know is Vanessa/Fanny. Introducing Glitch Trap, pretty much saying, hey guys, William's back, which for a lot of the fandom is probably the most annoying thing ever. But, you know, the different minigames like vent repair and working on the animatronics and all that stuff is really cool. I like the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. I think it's a really good DLC and it's really fun. I think they did a lot of good things with this title, honestly. And because of that, I'm going to throw it into Freddy approved. I don't think it deserves a great job because, let's be honest, half the minigames are just a VR port of the original games.
Yes.
However, it does add a lot of cool things. It added some cool story and has some good endings to it. I'm going to throw in Freddy approved. Now we go to the two games we got before Security Breach, which is Freddy in Space, and then the equivalent of Fighting Freddy's and Street Fighter mixing up. I don't know too much about these two games, I'm going to be completely honest, but I have seen gameplay of it. I'm going to say Freddy in Space, because you can't really take it with too much, because these are obviously not like big FNAF games, obviously. I'm going to throw both of these in not great, but not bad. I think that's where they deserve to be. Nothing phenomenal, but nothing terrible. That's my opinion on that. Yeah. So, now the final one. Security Breach. And Talon, I know me and you both know this game really well. Heck, I have a whole playlist if you have not seen it already on the channel of me playing Security Breach. We know this game a lot. So, first things first, Talon, I'm going to put this out there. We're going to judge it based off of everything. We're not just going to judge it off the now current patchless version of the game. Remember how it came out. Remember everything. So.
Well, I'm just going to say, I don't think it deserves to go above Freddy approved.
I agree. If the highest it's going to go is Freddy approved. That's the highest it will go.
But even then, I don't think it should go there either.
I don't think so either. I think, and we'll still go into it, I think it deserves this. Not great, but not bad. It's not it's perfect middle ground. If they can build off of it with the DLC, like I would love to say here in a few months when the DLC comes out, that we can reset the tier list and say the DLC goes into a great job, or maybe even an exotic butters. Because that's where this game could have been. However, you look at when the game released, how buggy the game was, how bad it was on launch, and you start to be like, ooh. And the game is a lot better now, I will give it credit, with patches. However, just certain points of this game, it's not scary, really. Like, the pure gameplay is not scary. I think the open world concept is cool, but the way they also delivered it makes it to where it's easy to forget where you need to go, because there's not an objective point of the game. Like, for example, I recently played Bending the Dark Revival, and while it was an open world concept of a game, it also had like an objective thing where you knew what you had to go do and where you had to go back to. So if you wandered the whole entire world, you knew where you had to go back to continue the story. Security Breach doesn't really do that. It doesn't really give you an objective, like, where you can always check, and it always tells you exactly where you need to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very easy to get lost in the Pizzaplex with how big it is, and it's very confusing, especially to someone that doesn't pick up on all the clues like me or you could do. It's very easy for someone like that that's new to FNAF as well to get lost in it and get very confused of what they need to do next. I think the lore under the game is great, like certain Easter eggs or just like the disc and everything. I think that's great. I think the story is good, and I think it has a lot to build off to in a DLC or obviously the DLC or a potential future game from Steel Wool. But for Steel Wool's first official FNAF game besides VR, but their first official FNAF game without Scott really being there, like 110%, it's not great, but it's not bad. It's perfect middle ground if Finance Freddy's. Talon, what's your opinions on this one?
So here's the thing for me.
Yeah.
With Security Breach and all that jazz. Well, I did... Like, I'm not going to say it's the worst thing ever in the world. Like, it is only mildly concerning that before we even got to touch the game, after just installing it, already had a patch out somehow.
Yeah, that was already concerning.
It's like, did anyone even touch the game yet? Why is there already a patch note out?
Yeah, like if you
so
like,
that should have
been our first red flag of the fact that we didn't it hadn't been out yet and it already had a patch. So that's our tier list.
And the fact that you can honestly skip half the game if you wanted to.
The story. It was so broken. There was such an easy way to skip a majority of the game without having to do anything and get halfway through it. Yeah. So, but that's our tier list of all of the FNAF games from FNAF 1 to Security Breach. In the future, we could do this again with new games, depending on how much they release. Maybe we'll do it over the books one day. I don't know. But that's our tier list of FNAF games. That's exactly where we think everything should fit into it. If you guys enjoyed this and do want to see more tier list videos of us ranking certain things, leave some suggestions down in the comments below, and we can rank them. We know a lot about gaming, and especially indie horror games. So if you want us to rank characters, whatever you want us to rank, leave it down in the comments below. Leave some suggestions for us. And for me and Talon, that's it for today. If you do want to go check out Talon's content, some of the things he does, I do have his channel linked in the description below. But as for me and Caleb the Gamer over here, we are good for today, and we will see you guys all in the next video. Talon, anything you want to say before we close it out?
Potato sandwich.
Potato sandwich, guys. Until next time, see you guys later. Bye-bye!